All right, so we're going to move on to our next portion of class. And this portion of class is known as center. And this is basically just the time where you challenge your balance. So before you were able to rely a bit on having a bar, and here you have a chance to test your balance and really utilize your core. So in ballet, we didn't talk too much about it before we did our bar work, but there are really three main components of ballet that are in regard to your posture. So the first thing is to engage your core. You always want to have a tight core, sucking in, almost imagining you're trying to put on that tight pair of pants that you want to wear. You want to have that type of tension in your core the whole time while you're dancing. And this will help you with many aspects. This will help you with your balance first and foremost. It'll also strengthen you and it'll allow you to do some more advanced steps as time goes on. So the second thing is your posture in regard to your chest. So a lot of times when you see ballerinas or dancers, they look very regal and lifted and weightless. And that a lot of is due to their chest and to their shoulders, and that's known as their épaulement. That's a French word that means shouldering. And so essentially there's a big difference if I were to be standing, let's say here in a tendu position, if I were to be here versus here. Right? There's a big difference just having that lift in the chest that kind of gives you the illusion that you're light, that you're defying gravity, and gives that nice airy quality to your movement while you're dancing. So the third thing is the use of your head. So you always want to be aware of where your head is. This is very much so a fine detail of dance and something that would be looked more for in more advanced students. But as we're working, be aware of where your head is in relation to your audience. So of course, during class, we work on our presentation, we're going to work on our technique and our strength and our balance, but we also want to work on our artistry. And if you had an audience, what would you be portraying to them? Yeah. So think about that as we go through class and as we go through more classes throughout our summer session. I will be reminding you of that and giving you some more specific instructions on how to do that. So we're going to begin our center work with an adage combination. And adage, it means at ease or leisure. So it's a slower portion of class. All right, so for our adage combination, we're going to be doing a movement that's known as a développé. Développé, and it means to develop, so very similar to our English word, develop. We're going to start with our feet in fifth position, and I'm going to start, I'm going to start with my right foot front. Now, if I were to be facing you, facing my audience, this facing is known as en face, and it means I'm facing my audience or I'm opposite of them. So for this combination, I'm going to be facing a croisé position, and croisé means crossed. So I'm not going to be facing you. I'm going to imagine that I have a little square around myself, maybe a foot. So if I put my feet together and I imagine I have a little square around me, I'm going to turn to that front left-hand corner of my square. So I'm at a diagonal. Now I'm going to pretend that this direction, not you, this is my new front, and I'm going to come to fifth position with my right foot front here. So we're going to begin this développé combination from our croisé position, our crossed position. Excuse me. So I have my right foot in front. Now développé, as I said, it means develop or to develop. And we are going to take our front leg and we're basically going to come through a coupe position, draw it up the knee, extend it front, and then close it back down. So the leg is going to develop up and then close. So with my leg, I'm going to start with that right leg, bring it up through coupe. I'm going to keep that foot connected, bring it all the way up to my knee. Once it's at my knee, notice here that this right leg, the knee is still turned out because we're still using our turnout. Once it's at my knee, I am going to extend my leg to the front Yeah, so even though I'm turned to the side, my leg is actually in front of me, but this is my corner, right? So I extended it out. I'm gonna lower it down into a tendu, like we did earlier, and then close it into fifth. Yeah, so that is a développé, bringing the leg up, extending, and closing. That's your développé. We are going to do one développé to the front, side, and back, okay? Notice I did not say en croix. En croix would imply that I'm going front, side, back, side, and I'm not going to do that last side. I'm only going to go front, side, and back for this combination. I'm going to place my hands on my hips for this round. I'm going to do one développé front, side, and back, and I'm going to have 4 counts to do each one. So I'm going to come up 1 and 2, extend it out on 3, and lower 4. Now I'm going to stay facing this way, and I'm going to développé to the side, 5 and 6, out 7, close it to the back, 8. So then I go 1 and 2, and 3 and 4. Now this développé is different. I'm not going to immediately close it. I'm going to leave it up. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to hold it 5. I'm going to step on that foot by brushing it to the front into a tendu position. On 6, I'm going to step on it, bring this left foot into a coupe, and step back, side, front. Now I have my left foot in front, and lower into 5th position. So that step that I just did is known as a pas de bourrée, and it means step of the bourrée, which is stepping back, side, and front. And now at the end, so if I just did my pas de bourrée, you see that I'm facing the other croisé position. So now my left foot's in front, and I'm ready to repeat this combination again on the other side. So let's go back to the right side. We had our one développé going to the front, to the side, to the back. We brush that foot on the floor. We step on it, 6 and coupe. Then we're gonna step left, right, left, left, right, left. Now my left foot is in front, and we lower our feet into 5th. Now from here, my left foot is ready, and I'm prepared to do this all over again on the other side. So I take that left leg now, it comes up 1 and 2 and 3, we lower 4, again 5 and 6 and 7, close it to the back 8, and into the back 1 and 2 and 3, hold it 4, hold it 5, step through 6, now I'm going to step right, left, right, 7 and 8, lowering in 5th, and then I will plie to finish and be done with our développé combination. For our arms, as we do our développés, they're going to stay nice and simple in a second position. You are welcome to keep your hands on your hips just for the purposes of this exercise to help remind you to keep those hips down. When we do a développé, what we don't want to do is to lift that hip or lean over to the side. Yeah? That means we're probably lifting our leg too high. So you want to lift the leg as high as you can, but while keeping our hips level, so they're not lifting. So as we do, you can keep your hands on your hips or in second position. As we go front, side, and back, we'll step through. And as we do this pas de bourrée here, let's close our arms into first as we go. Pas de bourrée. And then we'll open them as we do our next développé. All right, so let's give it a try. Right side and then left side, back to back with music. 6, arms up 7, open 8. We développé 1, 2, 3, close it 4. To the side, 5, 6, 7, close it 8. To the back, 1, 2, extend it 3, hold it 4, hold it 5, step through 6, and step back, side, front. And again, 1, 2 to the front, 3, close 4, 5, to the side, 6, 7, close to the back, back, 2, hold it, 3, and 4, step through 5, 6, pas de bray, 7, and 8. Plie to finish. For our next exercise in the center, we're going to do some more tendus, just like the ones that we did at the bar. So for this combination, we are going to be facing en face, which means opposite or facing the audience. So we're going to start with our right foot front in 5th position, and we're going to do 3 tendus and 1 plie, just like our combination was like at the bar. But this combination will not be en croix. The pattern will be different. We're going to do those tendus and a plie to the front, to the side, and then we're going to switch feet and use the left foot to go front and then side. And that'll be the end of our tendu combination. So let's give it a try, starting on the right foot. 3 tendus and 1 plie. So we point it front, and front, and front, plie. Now I'm going to go to the side, and since I'm in 5th, I'm going to close my foot to the back, then front, and then back. So we're going to switch it. So I go out, close back, out, close front, out, close back, and plie and straight. And now my left foot is in front, and I'm ready to do left foot front on this side here. So we go 1, 2, 3, plie, then to the side, 1, close back, 2, close front, 3, close back, plie. And that's it for our tendu combination. Now, as we do this, our arms are going to be in 2nd position. So nice and simple. We want to remember to keep our arms rounded and not let our elbows get droopy as we do our combination. So remember to keep them lifted and rounded. So we're going to give it a try with music. When we're finished on that last plie, we can bring our arms down and finish here. 6, arms up, 7, and 8. We go front and close, front, close, front, close, plie, and straight. Now to the side, close it back, side, close it front, side, close it back, plie. Now left foot to the front, 1, and a close, 2, and a close, 3, and a close, plie, and straight. Now to the side, close it back, side, close it front, side, close it back, and plie and straight. Very nice. All right, the next portion of our class is going to be known as petite allegro. So petite means small and allegro means fast. So we're going to be doing a series of jumps here in the center. So we're going to jump in those 3 positions that we did at the bar, 1st, 2nd, and 5th. And we're going to do a jump that's called a sauté. Okay, so sauté just means to jump up and down. And we're going to do our sautés from a 1st position. So I'm going to place my hands on my hips. Now every sauté or jump always begins and ends with a plie. You never want to land a jump with straight knees. That can be very dangerous and can cause you to hurt your knees. So always begin your jump with a plie and end it with a plie to help soften your landing. So a sauté in 1st position is very simple. It looks just like this. I'm going to start with a plie, jump, plie, and straight. So that is a sauté. So my feet started in 1st, I jumped up high enough to point my feet, and then I lowered them back down to the ground and landed in a plie. And also make sure that your feet roll off and roll on the ground. So as I jump, I'm going to pretend my right foot here is jumping off the floor. I want to roll it off and roll it on. So I don't want to jump off a flat foot or land on a flat foot. I want to peel it off like you peel a Band-Aid off. So I'm going to lift my heel up first, then the ball of my foot, and then the toe will come off as I jump. And then as I land, I'll land toe, then ball, then heel. And what that's going to do is soften your landing so you don't land with a thud or a loud noise. And that'll help give you that nice airy quality that you want to have when you're performing. So we're going to do a series of sautés in first position. We're going to do a total of 8 in first. So I'm going to do 8 sautés, starting with a plie. Here we go. We're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now earlier, like I said, we're going to do jumps not only in first position, but in first, second, and fifth. So I'm going to open my feet up into a second position, and I'm going to jump the exact same way in second. So my sauté will look like that. My feet are just wider. Yeah. So after we do our 8 sautés in first position, we're going to do our 8 sautés in second. So here's what that'll look like, starting with our plie. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we're going to transition into our sautés in fifth. All right. Now, if you're familiar with dance, you might have done something called changements, and that's something that we will learn later on in our summer session. But for today, we're just going to do sautés from fifth. So I have my right foot in front, left foot behind, and I'm going to do 8 sautés in fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Once you've done those 8, we're going to switch the feet and do 8 sautés with the left foot in front. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Excuse me, and that will be the end of our petite allegro combination. So from the top, that's going to be 8 sautés or jumps in first, 8 sautés in second, 8 sautés in fifth with your right foot front, and then 8 sautés in fifth with the left foot front. Do make sure that every time you jump and come up into the air, you want to fully point those feet and then roll back down gently when you land. So they're back to back. There's no stopping in between the combinations. And make sure as you're doing these that you do not hold your breath. You always want to make sure you're breathing in and out as you're doing this. Don't hold your breath and hold that tension in your arms, all right? When we're doing our our sautés in first, our arms will be in first, then they'll open up to our second position, and then they'll come back to first as we do our sautés in fifth, and then our other sautés in fifth on the other side. So our arms go first, second, and first. Keeping our shoulders down, breathing, and making sure we begin and end with a plie. And we're going to give it a try with music. 7, 8, and 1. 5, 6, 7, 8, 2 seconds. 5, 6, 7, right foot front, 2 fifth. 5, 6, 7, 8, and switch. 5, 6, 7, and 8. Very nice. All right, so for our last combination in the center, typically this would be done across the floor, but since I'm sure many of us don't quite have enough room, we're going to do it in a circle in the center of our space. So what exactly we're going to be doing are some turns, and this turn that we're going to do is called a chaîné, and it means chained or linked. So to start a chaîné turn, we're going to start, I'm going to step to the side so I have some room. I'm going to start from a first position, lift my heels into a releve, and have my arms in first. Now when we do our chaîné turn, this is the exact position we're going to be in as we do it, all right? So you want to take a mental picture of where your body is right now, so you know this is where it needs to be in your chaîné turn, all right? So as you do this turn, you want to be very careful depending on what type of flooring you're on. If you're on carpet or hardwood or tile, it can be very slippery, so be very careful as you do this combination. And you're more than welcome to go a little slower than the music if you need to make sure that you're being safe as you're traveling and doing this turn. So to prepare for this turn, we are going to start from a first position, tendu the right foot forward, so my toe is on the floor, and I'm going to start with my arms here in a third position, okay? So I'm going to have the same arm as my leg that's in front, that's the one that's bent, and my other one is in second. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up this right half of my body. So that right arm and leg are going to open up together. And as they do that, I'm going to be coming from a plie on this left leg. And what that's going to help me do is step up onto my releve, and this is going to help me start my turn. So for the shunny turn, I start to open to the front, and then I'm going to close my arms and legs. And I'm going to open and close. So that is a shunny turn. Your arms are just opening from a second to first, from second to first. That's all they're doing. Your feet stay pretty much just in the same position, and all you're doing is taking little steps, half, 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 half. Notice you do stay in your releve the whole time. The heels never touch the floor. So to do the shunny combination, if you have enough room to travel in a straight line, you can do that. But if you have a smaller space, we're going to do them in a circle. So be very careful when you do this turn. We're going to have an 8 count and a half to do our shunny turns in a circle. So I'm going to give it a try here. We're going to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So there was our half. On that next set of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, those next counts, we're going to stop and prepare on the other side to go the other direction. So the first time we were traveling to the right. Now the second time we're going to travel to the left. That way we do both sides. And then we'll do the same thing again, 8 counts and a half. So a total of 12 counts of doing turns to the left side, just however many you can do in that amount of time. Now, one thing that's probably the most important thing when you do a turn is to spot. So spotting means your eyes and your head are looking at a specific point every time you turn around. So if I was going to travel in a straight line and be traveling towards you, you would be my spot, and you would be what I pinpoint my gaze on. So to spot, that means I'm going to look at where I'm going, and as my body turns, I'm going to continue looking at there as long as I can, but my body keeps turning, and so when I can't look anymore, I whip my head around to find that same spot as quickly as I can. So ideally, as you're turning, your head should be looking, spot, you keep turning, spot, you keep turning, spot. So you want to look at some point each time you turn. This one will help you to stay going in the correct direction, and it will also help you to not get dizzy. So think about your spotting as you're going around and doing our chaînés, all right? So from the top, let's just mark it. We start with our tendu, right foot to the front. Then we have our 8 and a half count of chaînés. So we have chaîné turn 1, 2, 3, 4, going around our circle, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4. I stop turning, prepare 5, 6, 7, 8. Then I go to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll step to the side and finish in 5th. 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so like I said, just do however many times you can in that amount of music that you have. And here we go. Let's try it right and left side. 6, 7, and 8. Keep going. 1, 2, 3, 4. We prepare to go left. 7 and 8. 4, and pretty finished in 5th, 7, and 8. So to finish us off, the end of a ballet class, it is typical that you have what's known as a reverence, and that's just the end of the class where we say thank you to one another for teaching and for being a listening student, and we will curtsy to say thank you to one another. And this takes the place of if we were to be actually performing us curtsying or bowing and thanking the audience. So let's do that. You can just follow along as I do it. So women, girls, step to this side, you plie and curtsy. Step out again, present the arms, plie and curtsy. And for men, you step to this side, lift one arm up and bow. Step again, lift one arm up and bow. Thank you very much. All right, so before you go for today, thank you all very much. I hope you enjoyed your first week of our ballet class. Today was filled with just a lot of basic steps. And as time goes on, we get more used to these steps. We will start changing things here and there and adding on more new steps and learning more. So be prepared for that. Many of the steps that you saw today, you will see again in our coming classes. For example, we will always start our class off with pliés and then going into tendus and dégagés. So that same framework will be applied throughout all of our ballet classes, although the combinations might be changed here and there just to keep things fun and fresh. So remember, if you have space to do so, I would recommend stretching after you finish this class and always warming up beforehand so that you can prevent injury. But take some time right now to stretch on your own. Make sure you fully cool down to get the full benefit of your exercise. And I look forward to seeing you all next week.